Many thanks for staying. Now, the Akufo-Addo government has failed the people of Ghana. These are the words of an opposition group known as Young Professionals. Speaking at a media conference, the General Secretary of the group, Elikem Kotoko, described the 15-month reign of the NPP government as full of atrocities. Now, Elikem has joined me right here in the studio to explain his position to me. You're welcome to News Hour, Elikem.
Thank you, my brother. Good evening. And permit me to first and foremost wish my mother happy Mother's Day. I'm told I was very stubborn while I was a kid, and I can confirm that myself. But she was a good mother to me.
Is that what has translated into your position of the president's 15-month rule?
I know that I'm just very principled and do not compromise on matters of principle.
Right. Okay. So why do you say the Akufo-Addo government has failed? It's just been 15 months out of 4 years.
When you say it's just been 15 months, it means you are settling for mediocre.
I am not settling. I'm only putting
the reason being that, I mean, we know we give each government a 4-year mandate. Yeah. And if you are in your second year, you are almost close to ending your tenure. And they even find it difficult to accept the fact that they have ended their they are entering their second year. So they conveniently want to tell themselves, oh, we are just in a year and some few months, or we are in our 15th month. Like it or not, you've entered your second year. The president at a point said that he inherited a mess, and we ought to actually put him right, that from the way he was speaking, it is rather Ghanaians that made a mistake and elected a mess. And so he should not actually be saying he inherited a mess. Because prior to even election, they made all kinds of promises. On what assumptions were they making all these promises? On what assumption were they promising Ghanaians 1 million per constituency, 1 dam per village, 1 district, 1 factory? Now we are in the second year, they are in arrears of 2 million per constituency. Interestingly, they have now brought NAPCO, which many pundits have already told you and I that is just an avenue to employ one of their own. I mean, you said you are going to create jobs. You didn't say you are going to provide a stopgap measure, a temporal process for people to transit. No, create jobs. You don't recruit police people 2,000 and tell me you have created jobs in the police service. It is something that is recurrent. Creation means you should create new jobs that new people are taking over from. And don't do things that we already know and tell us that you are creating jobs. Dr. Bawumia was all over the media landscape like flies over garbage during the campaign time. He told us he worked at the Bank of Ghana. He knows the money is there. Mind you, he went to China for some leveraging. What's happened to that? You see, governance is not like selling groceries in the market. I do not know if it is the reason why Hajia Fatih took the rights into her own hands to be donating slabs to media people unwarranted. I learned she apologized. I think that is not enough. That again is settling for apologies rather than actually testing the law, because we ought to put people right. If not, if you look at the scenes of the number of times we've had media being assaulted, not only by the NPP anyways, but it's been more rampant. You and I are witness to the fact that when they took office in the full glare of the president at the Flagstaff House, one ASP Nanka Bruce was assaulted by one of their own. What happened to that? An apology was rendered. Mr. Daniel Bugri Nabu told us that he is aware that the gender minister knows something about the killing of Adams Mahama. He is working a free man. The gender minister herself issued a press statement when the issue of Moesha Bodon came up. A knee-jerk decision. She quickly responded and issued a disclaimer. But when the assault of the journalist came, she has still not written. She probably cannot find her pen or paper. And this is very bad for us. Would you
not say this apology thing is in the nature of Ghanaians? And so we ourselves accept, you know, we rather recommend that, you know, when these people do apologize, we accept rather than reprimand them by prosecuting them.
We need to move beyond that. I've accepted your apology, but we need to allow the law to also take its course. If not, very soon, somebody may even go and probably assassinate our president, God forbid, and say, I'm sorry, I apologize. I had a bad dream, and that's why I'm doing that. We cannot continue taking such mediocre apologies from people. It is the same reason why the same Bugri Nabu told us that he unleashed terror on the contractors in the northern region. He's working a free man. Thank goodness his own people realized that his loud mouth was hurting them, and they had to kick him out, despite the fact that the police also allowed him to actually take a damaged vehicle that was supposed to be in police custody to their party conference or Congress grounds to demonstrate that he had an accident, something I expect the police to know much better of. But power cannot be abused this way. And we look at so many other things that we feel that government has failed. Like I made mention of 1 district, 1 factory. Dr. Bawumia told us that they knew of when the rainy season, and so when the rains were off, then they will start building the dams. We are now in the second year. The rains are about setting in again, and we haven't even started the dam.
Have you not maybe perhaps noticed any positives?
Very good. I mean, one of the positives is the free SHS, which is their flagship program, and something, any question you ask them, they answer. But the point is, it was wrongly implemented. Till date, we do not know what the funding of where the funding of free HS is coming. And they have compounded the problem, because that is the albatross on the neck of government on this economy. It does matter, because if care is not taken, tomorrow they may set up a committee and say that all radio broadcasters should pay 5% of their salary in order to fund. Sustainability is what matters to us. If not, I'll be driving on the motorway tomorrow and I'll be asked that I should pay extra to fund free SHS. I should know what I'm going to be, how we are going to fund it from now till forever. The same applies to NAPCO. We do not know how it's going to be funded. Tomorrow they can tell us again that it's going to be the oil revenue. If there's no more oil, then they may have to turn to your backyard where you have an okra farm to fund NAPCO. Well, and how is that going to be? Let us be made to know that it is just an extension of national service.
Not to compare, but would you not have similar instances in previous governments? Not to compare, but job issues are, you know, very major issues.
It is. You see, unemployment is a teeming, it's a critical issue. It's a matter of even national security. And it is the reason why violence, etc., will be escalating if not addressed properly. But the fact is that this particular government, while in opposition, made the world believe that they had all the solutions to our problems. They promised the people. In fact, one of the major reasons why people campaigned and voted for them was because of the theme of their campaign manifesto. They said providing jobs, 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 creating jobs, you know. So now we are expecting that you create the jobs. You do not now come and start creating what you are. This is just an avenue to recruit their own people.
Must the government be creating jobs?
It is even not government's business. But the point is the fact that they are beginning to make a mess of the economy. No investor is even interested to come into your country to provide the avenues to provide jobs for the people. So they are now bedeviled with the challenge of having to create jobs themselves. The challenge is this. If you recall, some time back in Tema, they held a program where their invisible forces took the microphone and began threatening their executives that if you do not give us jobs, we're going to destabilize the economy, etc. The reason was because a Greek minister who earned himself the title of an incompetent minister was able to convince and confuse Ghanaians that he has created 745,000 jobs. Surprisingly, none of the members of the MPP members could raise a hand that I am one of those who were employed. So they got surprised. If you have created 745,000 jobs, how come we, your own people, are still unemployed? The reason why they now have to take up this thing. And don't forget, the same government has emboldened criminals to do the things they are doing, because their so-called Delta forces walked into a courtroom to assault a pregnant judge, and as a result of that, well, criminals think that if this can happen, we can also do it in the Rambo style.
Right. Thank you very much, Elikem Kotoko, for talking to us on News Hour.
Thank you so much.
Elikem Kotoko is the General Secretary of the group Young Professionals, and they are not happy about Akufo-Addo's 15 months in government so far. But away from that,